What is the dumbest thing you got punished for in school? I was flirting with a girl I'd known since we were 4. Special needs kid got angry and punched me in the face. I got suspended for fighting. Words can't even describe how stupid zero tolerance policies are. The school provided bus being late. When the teacher who handed out the detentions was confronted by a large number of parents' complaints, she responded with "not my problem." Working ahead in my textbook. This answer is not high enough. Biggest problem in education is this: limiting kids into their boundaries. I got detention for cheating in a test because my score was too high. I didn't cheat. I just studied. My hair gets highlights in it if I spend a lot of time in the sun. I came back to school after a 2-week beach holiday and got detention because I had colored my hair, even though the sun had bleached it. My lips go purple if it's cold, even if I'm not particularly cold in myself. I got a few detentions for wearing makeup before my mum phoned up and complained. My French teacher did not like me for some reason I could never guess. Anyway, one day during her exam she came to my desk and accused me of cheating when I wasn't doing anything wrong. So I protested and said I am not cheating. She then proceeded to took away my sheet and asked me questions on test verbally. I replied correctly to all her questions. Now that she knew that she got nothing on me, she wrote -5 on my sheet because of me daring to protest. Got suspended for throwing paper airplanes in elementary school. Also, my little brother's friend is in elementary school and he got in trouble for sexual harassment for saying "this roses are red, violets are blue, no girl on earth is prettier than you." I got in trouble for continuing to play tag after they told us we weren't allowed to play because it was too windy. In high school, the year I got there was the year they instituted a rule that you had to display your ID at all times while at school. If you didn't have your ID out, you could get detention due to reasons. I got to school about an hour before first bell and had zero way of getting back home or getting anything from home, well, until the end of school, of course. So I get to school and realize, oh noes, I forgot my ID at home. Well, no problem. I'll just go to the office and get a temp one. Welp. Turns out I should have tried to make it through the day without my ID. Because I got detention anyway, and I knew that I had a greater than 95% chance of making it through the day without anyone who cared noticing I didn't have my ID out. But no. I tried to do the right thing. Well. Duck you, school. You taught me a terrible lesson. I did the music at our monthly mass for my religion credit and got detention for a few weeks because I played the final countdown on the piano during the offering. Catholic schools. What are you gonna do? I actually have a great story on this one. In 4th grade, or something, I had this older of a teacher we all really hated. Let's call her Catherine, her actual name. So I was hanging out in the schoolyard when some first graders came running towards me and kicked me in the nuts. With absolutely no reason whatsoever. So I started crying and screaming from the unbearable pain I was in. Catherine comes running and starts screaming at me for making a scene. She starts screaming at a little kid who just got his nuts kicked far up his stomach. So I scream right back at her. And she asks me if I wanted to move this whole discussion to the principal's office. Knowing I was being treated extremely wrong. My answer is of course yes. Catherine ended up getting yelled at by the principal for 20 minutes or so. And I got to go home 3 hours before school ended. Best day ever. In 3rd grade my mom had me do some experimental ADD medication thing that caused a bunch of weird tics and shit. Apparently I kept making some face. Because my teacher drew 3 stars on a post-it note and whenever I made the face, she crossed off a star. I lost all 3 and got 3 days in detention for recess. Plot twist, I didn't actually have ADD. I got morning detention for running my hand against the brick wall in middle school. I was talking to my girlfriend and wasn't paying attention and just dragging my hand along the wall as I walked down. Supposedly the teacher thought I was banging on the walls. I got sent to the principal's office in the 2nd grade because during nap time, I would stealthily read a book. There's nap time in 2nd grade? I had nap time in college. Not being able to read the teacher's handwriting. Looking back, the whole situation was hilarious, but at the time, he was a tyrant of a teacher and everyone was scared of him. He was writing notes on a whiteboard which we had to transcribe into our notebooks. One of the sentences had the word glass tube in it. He wrote the SS in a way that it looked like an M. Being young and naive, I asked, what is a glam tube? He went mental, shouting at me and dragged me across the desk by my ear, screaming about me not being able to read and shouting glam tube. I'm sure it ended up in a detention for me. Less than a year later he was dismissed as a teacher from the school due to anger issues. I got a lunchtime detention for writing too big on the whiteboard. You win. Just how big are we talking? Big enough to satisfy Ops Mom. I really suck at this. Truth story. I got out of school suspension for skipping school. I got that too. Seems really dumb. He doesn't want to come to school. I know. Let's stop him coming to school. I once coughed in an exam and the invigilator thought I said pedo when I did it. Fast forward 6 months and before mentioned teacher gets asked to leave and it emerges he had been getting way too friendly with young students. Funny thing is that I genuinely just coughed. Methinks he may have had a guilty conscience. I got my desk taken away from me in 2nd grade for collecting rocks in it. I for some odd reason used to stash my scrap paper in my desk instead of the trash in 1st and 2nd grade. Don't know why. And I'd stress out that the teacher would be mad at me because they did periodic desk checks. In 5th grade I was not allowed to go on our field trip and had to sit in a room alone reading the entire day, all because I fought back when another kid punched me in the eye. Duck zero tolerance policies. Little did they know, I love sitting in rooms alone reading. Watching 3 kids play tag on the playground. It's against the rules. Teacher thought I was with them. I had to spend recess sitting on a log. A teacher in my school said that Orlando was the state capital of Florida. I corrected him. He raised an eyebrow and said, I think you'll find I'm right. Before continuing, I said, no, sir, it's definitely Tallahassee. His retort of, I'm the one with the degree in geography was met with "and you'd think you'd know" landed me in detention. I found out my cousin was considering suicide. So I acquired access to the faculty chat program and contacted my counselor because my teacher would not let me leave. I was able to get the situation resolved, but was suspended because I accessed programs I weren't allowed to. I went to an extremely conservative Baptist high school in Guam. I was punished for some pretty insane things: hair being too spiky, singing Feliz Navidad during Christmas time, too worldly of a song, and getting caught with DVDs of mainstream movies. I was eventually expelled when a group of the super religious students sold me out for drinking a beer at a friend's birthday party on a weekend. At this time the drinking age in Guam was 18. I was 18 when drinking said beer. Running a meth lab, I wasn't. I had a bunch of chemicals for a photography class that I was student teaching in my locker during my senior year. Someone saw them, called 911. I was pulled out of class by police and arrested. They genuinely thought that I was cooking meth in my locker. Wouldn't let me call my lab supervisor to confirm that they were for class. When the narcotics team showed up they basically just facepalmed and told the cops to let me go. When I was in 4th grade, I was given detention for reading books too quickly. The teacher had divided the books by difficulty, and she thought I was stupid, so she put me at the lowest reading level. Even though I was one of the smarter students in the class, I finished all of the books within the course of about 2 weeks. When I told her that I was finished with them and would like to start reading the more difficult books, she called me a liar and gave me a week's worth of detention, claiming there was no way that I could have read and understood those books so fast. I saw her a few years ago and she was surprised that I'm on the dean's list at my college, let alone at the college I'm attending. I'm graduating from college next year with the intention on going to medical school. I think I can ducking read. I got jumped. Unprovoked by a spiteful girl. I didn't initiate the fight or anything. But I still got suspended for 5 days. Stupid school rules. No tolerance policies. Or whatever they're called. Are stupid. If someone hits you, you're going to get punished anyway. So you may as well just hit back. When I was in elementary school, the teacher failed to arrive on time to the class. So I got bored and made the class form a line. Told them since the teacher wasn't there we were going to recess. They all followed and agreed. I was the mastermind behind the whole operation, so my parents got called and I was suspended for a day. Was working on painting something in 1st grade. Teacher said no talking. I liked the other students' art, so I whispered that looks nice. Bam. I said no talking. He yelled. Made a big deal. He walked me outside. I had to spend the rest of the session in another teacher's classroom sitting in the corner because I disobeyed. Bro, I just liked the girl's art. Got punished for being punished. Teacher kicked me out because I was a minute late, honestly. So I was chilling outside the class when the principal walks by and gives me an earful about delinquency and indiscipline. Real douchebag. Had a stick up his ass at the time. And threatened to call my parents. Starts spouting bullshit on the phone. So I interrupted and told him that he cannot speak to my parents in such a way. Especially when he is not speaking the truth. Gets frustrated and suspends me for 2 days. I have no idea what was wrong with him, but I enjoyed those 2 days. Downloading and printing the entire script to Interview with the Vampire. It took almost 10 days to print. This happened in 1995. They couldn't figure out how to stop it. I was suspended for a week. When I was 12, I became ill and had to take time off school. I was off for 3 months straight before going back on a part-time timetable. The slightest bit of exercise would leave me exhausted. I lost weight from not being able to eat. And I looked terrible. So why did I get into trouble? For not taking part in cross-country running. I wasn't alone that day. The girl with a broken leg also got into trouble. Suspended 3 days for shooting a paper wad into the trash can from my desk. I even made the shot and he still sent me to the principal's office. In grade 3. I said shit out loud when a friend pushed me and I scrapped my knee. Some random kid nearby heard and reported me, to which I got a 1-day suspension. I was once told I was not allowed to use the restroom. I was in a career and tech program during high school where I would go to another school for half the day. From there I would ride a bus to our middle school. I would then wait for my bus to go home. One day as I was waiting for the bus, I went to go use the bathroom. I was stopped by the vice principal and told I was not allowed to enter the building. I am not an argumentative guy, so I say nothing. I then wait to when she is not near the entrance and I walk into the principal's office. Told him what had happened. He told me it was ridiculous and it would not happen again. It in fact did not happen again. In 5th grade. I had to poo. So I went and pooed. It was a bit of a big one, so it took me some time. When I came back, the teacher started asking me, out loud in front of the class, what I was doing that I was gone so long. I said, I had to use the bathroom. She then started yelling at me. You were gone too long and I won't tolerate screwing around, yada yada. She must have been having a bad day. But I got really upset and I yelled out. I had to take a shit, my god. Silence. Detention. My dad came in and when he heard what happened told me while he was happy I stood up for myself. I probably could have been more tactful. I got detention only once in high school. See. Freshman year we had a brand new high school building. So there were strict no food only water rules in effect that pretty much everyone ignored by senior year. Especially my English teacher, who didn't care if students showed up with mugs of tea. On that fateful day, I borrowed a tea bag from a friend who was also going to do tea. But we got spotted by a teacher in the hall who saw I had tea and ordered me to dump it out. she saw my friend's mug, but friend insisted it was just water and the tea hadn't gone through yet. So it looked like dirty water. Definitely not clear. So she was scot-free. But I just kept walking to the classroom promising I would dump out said tea in the water fountain. But of course didn't. Anyway. This teacher blew a gasket that I disrespected her. So I got detention. I know. I was clearly a wild, out of control kind of teenager.